Hi there, my name is Elizabeth Longo. I'm an ordained Unity minister and I am also a coach. And I am delighted to be with you this morning. And would you take a moment right now to take a breath with me? And as we take a breath, we recognize our divinity and we recognize that there is no such thing as separation when we come from this truth. So right now, we together are creating a field of possibilities, a sacred space for the energy of spirit to come forth, to do whatever it is that we need in this moment, whether that be forgiveness, whether that means releasing fear or anxiety, because there is a lot of that going on in our world today, whatever it is, or for your neighbors, your family. Let's send a lot of light to the world. Will you join me in that? And we know that when two or more are gathered in this truth, it is amplified. So we might not be locally, physically in the same space, but we are connected in what really, really matters. The truth of who we are. I want to begin by sharing one of my favorite quotes from Rumi. And it says, "Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there." And this field is the intelligence, the infinite abundance in which we live and move and have our being, where everything that we can perceive arises from and falls back into. This is a field that is right where you are. And when we know this field as the truth of our being, infinitely connected with our Creator, the I am consciousness, the living, loving Christ presence awake in us, then we can relax and we can take a breath moment by moment and flow with life. And when we are flowing with life, we know somehow that we are guided, that always something greater will be unfolding. See, life is not our history. Life is not our conditioning. Life is not the things that have happened to us or will happen. Life is not our identity. Life is the endless flow of spirit. So we want to flow with that. And in order to flow with that, we must first recognize it. This is what I love about our unity teachings. It is practical. The awareness that there's only one presence, one power, and it is right where you are. It is within us and we have access to it. What we need to do is change our thinking. And one of the ways that we change our thinking is through prayer, affirmative prayer. Knowing the truth that sets us free, one of my favorite scriptures. You will know the truth and the truth shall set you free. And truth with a capital T is this awareness. And when we know this truth, then the little truth, we can bring the highest vibration into that little truth because we're guided by spirit. And then we live like the lilies of the field. Whatever is ours to do, that we can do it with grace, with ease, that we can flow. And when we know this truth, we have access to our divinity. And having access to our divinity means that we have access to our divine powers. And one of the first powers that I want to talk about is faith. Because there's no such thing as not having any faith. The reality is, where is your faith? Where do we put our attention? Because wherever our attention goes, there goes our power. So if faith is in fear, lack, and limitation, guess what we're going to get more out of? More situations that will arise in our lives that will bring up fear and more lack and limitation, because it is a loving, friendly universe that will always give us exactly what we need. And once we know that we have access to this faith over and over again, and bring it back over and over and into creating a life that is meaningful, into really focusing our attention into what is ours to do, then we do so with love, with joy. When we have heart, everything works with ease, because the intelligence of the heart is greater than the intelligence that we have in our heads. So we bring faith and love and imagination of what could be. So we want to see a better world. If we want everything transformed, let's begin to see it right. And right now, yes, there is a lot of anxiety in our world, a lot of fear. We are living unprecedented times. That is the truth in this reality of time and space. And yes, we wear masks and we take care of ourselves and we wash our hands over and over again and we keep physical distance. But can we do that from a place of love, of light, of ease, and knowing that we are divinely guided and divinely protected? So we do what is ours to do in the outer, in the physical form, but first we take care of the inner world. We pray unceasingly and be compassionate for those that are hurting in this moment. You know, back in March, I had just come back from a trip to North Carolina where I was doing some consulting work in a Unity church, and I was speaking there. And when I got back home in Fort Lauderdale, where I live, I just knew that it was my time to retreat. This was when we knew already that, you know, the COVID was out there in our country and that we had to take care of ourselves and so forth. And I got the message loud and clear that this was my time of retreat. Not only my time, our time. The world needed a reset. And so it was a time of resetting by going deep within and retreating. And I just took a lot of time to do deep healing work. I don't think I had worked so hard on myself since the 90s. And I don't want to say hard, like hard. No, I just allowed myself to get really authentic and really see what was really important in my life. And I did a lot of shedding away, a lot of letting go. Because I wanted to get as clear as possible. Because I knew that if I did that, I was allowing Spirit to rebirth me, to renew me, to create in me a whole new way of being. And I gave myself over and over again to Spirit, and I said, use me, guide me, I'm here to serve you. For I am your hands, I am your feet, I am your voice. Use me in any way possible. And this was for about 3-4 months where I probably went out maybe 2 or 3 times because I had the blessing of having a neighbor who would go to the store and ask me all the time, what do you need? So even going out to grocery shopping was something I did very little during that time. Then after a few months, I got an invitation to go to Colorado. And I went in, I checked in, and I went. Taking all the precautions, you know, I went in an airline that was pretty safe. I had a shield on, I had a mask. I went on a direct flight, and it was good for my soul. I was ready to come out into the world. You know, everything is the flow of life. And I want to share a little bit about my experience in Colorado because it was expansive. And I feel the outer was a reflection of the room I had made for Spirit within. And then there was the mountains. And the mountains reminding me of the power of God, of the strength of God, which reminded me of my time being a yoga teacher, how to stay firm in your inner mountain. Your inner mountain. See, the mountain is a great symbol for going through life's changes with ease and grace. The mountain goes through all the seasons, and there's summer and there's a lot of activity going on, and then fall comes along and the trees, little by little, release all their leaves. And then winter comes along and there's not even a sign of life. And then spring happens again and there's a rebirth again. So the mountain for me was such a gift, to find my inner mountain on a daily basis. So I invite you to be strong in your inner mountain. Find that inner mountain. And that is the reset, being in alignment with spirit. So then, just like the waterfalls go forth, you are in the flow, allowing the waters of life to empty you over and over again. Then there were the rivers. Oh, the rivers, reminding me of the vibrancy of life, of this amazing planet that we live on. Have you ever thought that we are standing or sitting, whatever it is, on a floating rock in the middle of nowhere, and we don't fall off? Life is a miracle, and you are a miracle. I am a miracle, and we're here. We are here to express uniquely this miracle of life. Each and every one of us has a unique fingerprint. There's not two of us alike, and we all have something to share because we influence each other. We're connected, just like the aspen trees. The roots are totally connected. We are connected. No such thing as a separate life, but we are uniquely gifted with something that we're here to contribute. I want to share from Bookmaster Fuller a quote that I love, and it says, "Never forget that you are one of a kind. Never forget that if there weren't any need for you in all your uniqueness to be on this earth, you wouldn't be here on the first place. And never forget that no matter how overwhelming life's challenges and problems seem to be, that one person can make a difference in the world. In fact, it is always because of one person that all changes that matter in the world come about." So be that person, and be that person by being in alignment with your inner power, by resetting yourself over and over again, and then listening to that still small voice, to what is unfolding in you, what is seeking to be birthed uniquely through you. And that might just be a little more compassion that our country needs right now. A little more loving kindness, checking in on a neighbor, family members, beginning to listen to each other, or doing something about what you're passionate about in social justice. Whatever it is, we're here to be contributors of life, to make a difference in this world. If you knew for certainty that you were being lived, how would it be? How would life be for you? You know, Jesus' disciples, they were fishermen. And you probably might recall the story in the Bible when the fishermen went out and they spent all night at sea and they didn't catch anything. So they got back to shore and they were tired, distraught. I mean, they were like, whoa. And you know what Jesus tells them? He says, cast the net on the right side of the boat. Sets them out to cast the net on the right side of the boat. Now imagine for a moment a carpenter telling experienced fishermen how to do their job. How would you feel? Well, good thing is that the disciples had seen already all the miracles that Jesus had done, and they said, well, maybe there's something to it. So they did go back and they cast the net on the right side. And whoa, guess what? They caught a lot of fish. But the metaphysics of this story, what it really is about getting in the right mindset, getting in the right consciousness. When we are aligned with spirit, things tend to work out. When we're out of alignment, things don't work out. So if we want our country to come back into alignment, then we each have a responsibility. If we want the world to shift, we each have a responsibility. Because if a butterfly flips its wings right here now, there's an impact on the other side of the world. That's how connected we all are. So my invitation to you today is to really see what is important in your life. Do you need to get back into alignment? And if you need to get back into alignment, the question is, where is your faith right now? How loving are you being? You know, love is one of our divine qualities. If we want to be in the flow of life, let's bring some loving kindness to the world. Love is the greatest healer there is. It is the greatest unifying force in the entire world. And again, with your imagination, we create worlds. We are divine ideas in this mind, and we all have the creative power. So we together can create a world that works for all. And we all have our unique way of showing up. And it's not only our gifts and our talents. Yes, gifts and talents are amazing. We all have them. But it's also our willingness to show up nevertheless. Even if we're feeling, it's normal. It is normal that right now we feel the heaviness of the world, and we take moments of breathing and praying unceasingly until we can come back into alignment. One of the tools that I love to do is journaling. Journaling. Because when I journal, I release whatever's going on. I get conscious of, the thoughts maybe that I'm holding in my mind that are no longer serving me. And open up to greater and greater awareness of life flowing through me, as me, and I can find that inner strength no matter what, because strength is one of our qualities, our inner power, awakening the power of spirit in me. So we awaken the power, find our inner mountain, and then when we find our inner mountain, then we know that with God, all things are possible. God is greater than any challenge in our lives. And the power of God is right where you are. Are you ready to flow with it? Are you ready to say yes to spirit? Are you ready to shine your light? Are you ready to be a waterfall of consciousness, a river of life that's flowing ever to meet its creator in the ocean of love, in the ocean of existence, and being a giver of just giving our love, our light? Every moment when we wake up in the morning, the first thing I say is, thank you, God. And knowing that God is here, but God is the allness. God is personal, God is the allness. So, invite you this week, take some time to center yourself in the truth of who you are. Remember that truth with a capital T, that unchanging reality is right where you are. God does not move. So we want to get in the right consciousness, on the right side of the boat, and then say, yes, Spirit, I'm ready to flow. I'm ready to serve. I'm ready to do my part. And I'm ready to shine my light in this flowing ocean of awareness that's right where you are. And so it is. Namaste.